years, you can betcha.
Hopefully it's a one-way trip. Nice.
I feel like at like 82, it would probably be a one-way trip. I don't know that I would survive the G-forces of re-entry. It'd be a good way to go. I'd like to be the first man to die on the moon.
3, 2, 1.
Well, KIX are probably going to beat me to it at this rate.
There's a lot of choices here for you. Let's focus on this the Metro though, because this is an interesting strategy. What Global Esports is going to do is just obviously go straight on top of the point. How long it takes KIX to notice this and respond is going to be interesting. WUSIC is in position to
So this is a way of bypassing the Bastion. They see no Bastions, they decide to swap up.
And well, the good news is you can swap back really quickly because you just teleport back to spawn. That's exactly what happened. And where you see the Ryan come through is because there's a Winston on defense, and there must be a Winston on defense, unless you're going to get destroyed by fire or something. Global Esports see the opportunity. They just want to take a fight because they know they can take down WUSIC.
Just edging forward. They got a decent stun, but then the Zarya bubble comes in nice and quick, smart. Ooh, that's big chunks on Xingjiang Bao, who has to back right on up.
And look at the spacing as well. KIX are all over the place right now. WUSIC is still low, not even close to his healers. The points open up. Global Esports can now choose to pressure either the objective itself or keep taking down members.
Yeah, WUSIC taking that Orb of Discord as well. As he tried to regroup, finally gets back with the team, gets healed up a little bit, but immediately they start taking damage again. As soon as they try and readdress the fight, Global Esports just put the foot down. They press on the gas and absolutely run over KIX.
And that is going to be a one attempt coming through for Global Esports. Still got ults in the bank as well. The big one they had to use, or rather just decided to use, is going to be the Graviton Surge. KIX notably have held on to at least Transcendence in their own grab. WUSIC now changing onto his own Ryan. They're in position to actually get some defense going, but it's going to take a lot. And Global Esports have a lot going for them.
Why do we call it the Lucio Taxi? Everyone takes Uber these days. Doesn't make sense. But at any rate now, KIX on the defense. Got a little bit to work with here, but Global Esports do certainly outrank them in terms of overall ultimates.
Yes, and I hope Uber gives you good compensation for that little boost right there and for KIX right there.
Yeah, I'll call him up. Hey, mate.
Also that Uber.
Yeah, there are multiple Ubers at play in this situation. There we go. That's going to be the grab coming out from Elva. By the way, substitution. Self-destruct from Xenofly. Just kind of shatters the dreams there. All right, well, Global Esports looking like they're just going to run this one over as well. Again, they had all the ultimates to do it, where KIX got nothing out of the one grab they used, and as soon as Global Esports decide they're going to put the pedal to the metal, so they just go.
Time is important here. The sound barrier was used by KIX. The Earth Shadow not quite channeled through, and just getting time off the potential time back, still important for KIX.
And also not quite in sync with that self-destruct. It's unfortunate to say they just barely got Sachuk's shield up, and the members of the team in behind it in time.
They're at least trading.
There's something coming in here, but the thing is, it's still trades that are largely favoring Global Esports. Double grabs out, but it's Global Esports who get the better end of that exchange. Bravolab now out of the mech, going to go down and starting to just slowly chip away at that percentage, and there's the cap.
And it's honestly taken a long time for Global Esports, much longer than you'd expected, and refer back to our earlier match this week between Talon and Giant Lynx, where I believe Talon got a 128 overall attack time.
1 second off the world record.
Or at least the Overwatch League record that Dallas Field got, but
certainly,
I don't know what the world record is, but it'd be something like that.
Certainly the Pacific record.
And right now is, what you notice is, I will comment on the fact that it's a 4:56, I believe, time bank for Global Esports, but it is also slow and measured. It's not all about, okay, run to the other point and just cap straight away. KIX are putting up a fight. It's some sort of token resistance here that is going to be important for competing in time bank, which will require KIX to finish the map if they want to compete in time bank. But Global Esports are not taking a risk. What you see from the slow measured players, they want to be calculated about it. They know they've been punished for being over aggressive before, so they want to make sure that the safe play that gets them the win is what is the important thing to do.
Well, KIX, like you said, because there's they did get a bit of time off the clock. There is, I mean, let's be real. If they want to be able to compete in time bank, first they have to be able to compete.
It's true, and
they have not.
Global Esports right now rolling out on the Rhine, and this is important because looking at the two compositions and KIX still in spawn, deciding once they see the Rhine, it should sort of just confirm for them that playing both the Sombra and the Fire, or even just the Fire, will be the correct choice. And this is why teams typically will choose the Winston here instead of the Rhine, because You take a big risk by playing them right now. I know Global Esports are going to be confident enough to say that even if a fire comes out, we probably still win. But I would say KIX have given themselves a very good opportunity here.
Global Esports, we're going to see how they choose to deal with this. Like you said, compositionally speaking, they are at a disadvantage.
There it is.
Oh, wow, that is a big opening frag out onto Azure. So already Global Esports on that
on the set shot, step 2 complete.
Nicely done. Just need to get that kill coming through, at least get kill pressure out. They finish off Bubble Kitty. So they're able to just slowly wrap around, choke out these members. Wusik takes some chunks, but it's nowhere near enough to kill him. Another hack onto Satchok. This one will spell his doom. D-O-O-M. Xeon Flux going down, and it's all slowly coming apart for Global Esports on the point. KIX doing a good job of pulling on that thread till the sweater unravels.
And this is it. Not a single death for KIX as well. Some members came close, but you know, close is never really good enough. And Global Esports have surely learned their lesson. They will not ever run a Ryan in that situation against any team that could have a fire again. The big problem now is KIX need a snowball. They need to get something done here. EMP needs to be available. Lorax is going on to his own storm. He's trying to do as much as he can to prevent these big ultimates from coming through.
That's the thing, KIX, they are in a good position, but they don't quite have the ultimates just yet. So Global Esports going to use this window to charge up something, really anything. Maybe even get a frag onto Xingjian Bao.
Not the member.
That's pretty devastating. Elva taking a lot of pressure as well. And I mean, KIX just kind of, they roll over, they go belly up.
And the thing is, you know, windows open and close so quickly in this game, and Global Esports while pushing on that, they get that player down, they get Xingjian Bao down, they push directly on top of the body to make sure there is not going to be a res. The overextension from Satchok, though, is going to give KIX another opportunity. I want to see KIX really use these opportunities, because so far they kind of haven't really been doing it to its full potential.
I mean, you got all 6 ultimates, right? Self-destruct thrown up from Xenofly, not really in a great spot, and he's hacked, so he can't remake instantly. That means he goes down, and without that to block this, Rocket Barrage, what is that even called? They're able to use that to finish off Satchok, so good position right now. That's a decent hack, though, from Lil Rex. Look at how quickly he charged the EMP up.
Okay, it's over.
Wow.
And before Xingjian Bao even used the EMP, I think that was quite risky. I think if it doesn't end here, and Global Esports get a little bit more done with the EMP, notably the EMP landed also on Xingjian Bao to prevent the counter EMP, and I don't know, the bells and whistles, the red flags, and all the alarms started ringing in my head, because I was starting to think this is where KIX maybe start to fall over, because their chance to really win is to also then commit their own EMP, which they can't do if Xingjian Bao is hacked out himself. But when you go in with 6 ultimates, typically you win, and that's what happened.
Yeah, there were enough members alive that someone should have been on the point. I mean, this is just a massively dropped ball. Look at this. You get the EMP comes out, Bubble Kitty's kind of flirting with it around the side, steps off, no one's there. Big mistake.
It is. And
Charlie Niner.
Again, I'd like to say that if Global Esports had maintained control at that point, the opportunity for them to win would have still been there.
KIX was still in a good position, though.
I think Xingjian Bao would have eventually EMP'd, because he didn't get taken down. And that's another big issue, is once you have the opposing Sombra hacked out, first of all, they're not going to counter EMP. Second of all, they can't translocate out or go invisible or anything. They are perfect to immediately take out of the game. That's what should have happened. That's on top of the fact that, you know, ignoring the fact that they kind of Charlie 9'd the point, if they had maintained control, it would have been a different story.
I just can't believe the KIX have a better time bank than Global Esports here.
Oh, we talked about the fact that time bank matters, and now the fact that they stalled out the time bank, it matters. They're in the lead.
Science will reveal the truth.
Pinch me.
Okay, no.
You've been waiting for that.
Where would you like it?
On the arm?
I don't
know how to answer that question.
Well, you do. You clearly do.
Jeez, okay. I didn't realize I needed to have a preference, but at any rate, Global Esports, that's a big biotic grenade that they've eaten, but unfortunately not enough pressure applied after the fact for it to really count much.
They needed something.
So low,
they almost got Azure. If they got 1 kill out of that, this would be an awful push for Global Esports, because they've recovered. Second Bionet hits Bubble Kitty, but I doubt this is going to result in a death.
Yeah, and KIX, they're coming close to a Rocket Barrage, but that's all they got to work with here. Good hack on the Xenofly, though. Might just get the Megs, and no, it's Bravelab who gets the Megs. That Rocket Barrage does find Azure, but that's all it will find. After that, gets blocked up. Bravelab goes down. Get the pressure down. Xingjian Bao up, Bao Jazzy low. And this is pretty unsurprising from Global Esports.
But it's super surprising in another way. I think if you turn up the nameplates and you didn't know who was playing who, you think, wow, there's no way the team that just bionated 3, then another member, then slept the Diva mech, and then killed. It's, I don't know, like, how do you lose in this position if you're KIX? rhetorical question.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I think the reality is
I know exactly.
We all know the answer very emphatically.
I also know the answer, but I just
something of an elephant in this room.
The question to be dramatic, but
well, you are very dramatic.
Something less dramatic is Global Esports just continuing to roll one through right now. EMP.
Oh,
there it is. That's okay. Finally, KIX are able to get something with that on the kill streak, with kill on the board. The problem is they're still running the fire on the defense. I think eventually for Global Esports, I mean, just get a bit of a reset, push back in. Ultimate's coming online. They're going to have a lot of ults to play with. EMP is a big factor. If EMP can get good coverage, this will be a one fight for KIX. But once EMP's out of the picture, I don't know.
This guy's name just makes me think of Idris Elba. I don't know. I think Idris Elba would play a mean Pharah, but that's a pretty nice EMP into a pretty nice rocket barrage, and not very nice grab out of Little Rax. Didn't really get a lot done, so KIX well-deserved fight win there, but they did commit a lot to it.
I think Global Esports should have not committed here. They should have taken a dry push, knowing that EMP was probably on the other side, maybe Rocket Barrage as well. Take the EMP, take the Rocket Barrage. Hopefully a lot of people die to the Rocket Barrage such that the rest of KIX don't charge their ultimates. Then you walk back in with grab. You walk back with double support ultimates, and then you get to cap.
Well, now, KIX on the defense. They do still have a minefield. They do still have a Valkyrie, but that's really it for the
Let's be fair, the mines are not good.
That's the thing. It doesn't really do much for them, but Elba's actually quite close to another Rocket Barrage, so if this lasts too long, then it's bad news, Bears. Man, that was beautiful. Proper kaleidoscopic set of self-destructs. This Global Esports Satchok with the Biotic Grenade is going to take a lot of pain, but Primal Rage keeps him in the fight plenty healthy.
Barrage available.
Needs to use it, and Xenofly is hacked out. He can't counter it right now. Bravolab out of the mech. Same with Xenofly, but Elba goes down as he channels the Rocket Barrage. Justice, well, weather's cancelled, I guess.
Elba's back in the mix, so he's been revived, and Xinjiangbao's nearly on an EMP, but needs to survive.
And Elba's back down. The Coalescence to come out, keeping everyone topped off as well. Minefield out, but and Xeonflux goes 2 for 2, actually, with that Coalescence. There's the EMP at long last. It does get a good gamut of members. Xeonflux is going to go down with the help of that Biotic Grenade as well, and KIX finally look like they're about to dig in the heels.
And honestly, this should have been a push that Global Esports could have finished out, but because the EMP finally comes in, I don't know, this could actually still go either way. Well, that's the thing, because Global Esports still have members rolling in and getting kills.
Little Rax outputs so much damage. He's got so much charge. He's got another grab now. Finishing off Woosik was probably the highest priority there. It was the last bit of tank beefy presence on the point. That's a weird grab, but look, I'll be honest, the damage is done. Bravolab comes out, going to die before he gets to the point. Woosik's going to come in for another round. He's going to die pretty quickly. I wouldn't be too surprised. And KIX, this is just petty resistance at this point. Global Esports should have lost.
Don't underestimate petty resistance. Look at what it gave them last time around, and this time around still. It's taking a very long time for Global Esports to cap out, despite the fact that they've been winning now for a solid minute.
I mean, they've been winning, then they've been losing, then they've been winning. This fight feels so awkward because really, at various junctures, it feels like one team or the other should have closed it out.
There it is.
It does eventually happen, the way of Global Esports, but, I mean, you're dead right. The time that was taken off the clock was uncomfortably long.
It is, and it's certainly not comfortable for Global Esports. 456 down to just 50. 406 it took them to get through both points, and I believe there's an extra 30 seconds they get between A and B as well, so even a little bit extra. It just took Global Esports so long to get through that. To be fair, if KIX can really get a lot done on this offense, where I don't know if Lightning can strike twice in the same spot, because I will say again, I believe that Satchok here will more than definitely be playing the Winston to start with.
Man, that Coalescence, he knew his priority target. Look at this, the Rez came in. Xeonflux immediately starts outputting damage. The stun was nice and just channels the Coalescence right onto the low health Elba before the Mercy can come to the rescue. And then kills the Mercy for good measure, just in case.
Yeah, I think this is where when you start taking out the key members, Pharah is the biggest issue here because the most difficult character to deal with, and then next up is the Mercy, because the Mercy can bring the Pharah back if things go poorly. So that's really, you know, what you got to deal with. And as expected here, Global Esports, they see the writing on the wall. They're like, you can't do the Ryan the second time. If you do that, you're going to get double capped. And because of this, Global Esports are unlikely to get double capped again. It's got to be much more difficult for KIX to just instantly roll over A the way they did.
Hey, you ready to eat a shoe? I mean, it would start here if it does happen, right?
I like premium Italian leather. What's your preference here?
You can actually eat leather. There was a guy.
That's why I chose it.
They were trying to find the Northwest Passage. The ship got stuck in ice, and the captain chewed on his boots for nourishment and survived.
Look on your shoe.
They failed. They all died on the next voyage because they had preserved food in lead line 10s. They all died of lead poisoning. At any rate, though, this is the second voyage around, I guess, for KIX. And, well, last time they ate their boots and made their way to point B. Let's see if this time they die of lead poisoning.
Xinjiang Bao super low here, maybe compromised, forced to translocate, I imagine. Elva's not found an opening pick, so Global Esports certainly smarted up. A lot of low members consistently in Global Esports, but instantly healed back.
And now it's Elva getting low, just kind of juggling the aggro, but again, now healed back up, Bao really doing a good job of this one. Sleep on WooSick,
available.
Xenofly's the one who gets out of the mech, though.
It's a free barrage.
This is ridiculous. There it goes, throws on down. Satchok's got a nano boost, though. They're keeping pressure out. Bravolab's out of the mech. And that rocket
Where was the barrage?
Found nothing at all. I have no idea. Why has Bao got a nano boost? What is going on? Battle Mercy unlocked, and the team's all dead.
There has never been a better scenario for a free rocket barrage when the Diva on the other side has been demeched. You're just seeing those squishy targets like, yes, get in there. And suddenly, didn't happen. Sachok is,
Hello.
he's,
Hello
hello there.
Yeah. Sorry for dropping it.
Sorry for dropping out of the game.
We may be having some technical difficulties, so do just bear with us for a moment. Look, I have never in the entire course of my career actually
I know what
used this
happened
word
here.
emphatically.
Xinjiang Bao is
was a clown
EMP the
fiesta.
entire server that the game is taking place on. Figure it out. Figure it out.
That is a king strategy right there. But look, that fight was a mess.
So here's the strategy for KIX is if Global Esports start winning, you've already hired someone to infiltrate the gaming house and just unplug the internet.
If you don't know what you're doing, how can the other team know what you're doing?
You just cut the power to their computers and
Snip.
you're in, buddies, you're in.
Hacker voice.
Just,
This is an entertaining match to say the least. But yes, we are having some technical difficulties. Should be able to get a bit of an update before too long, so do just bear with us. I'm terrified. I'm terrified of what's going to happen after the pause gets resolved here. But I mean, that fight was genuinely absurd. I have no idea where the rocket barrage
went into
was.
the ether.
Like, it was ridiculous. Like,
what happened?
Things were kind of going well, and then like I have no idea where the rocket barrage was. I have no idea what happened with regards to an EMP. A nano boost went on the Mercy, who was firing the pistol while everyone was dying.
It was just a perfect setup. You had everything lining up exactly how you wanted, and then the biggest letdown, just like The Last Jedi. It was the perfect setup from The Force Awakens, and then all of it was just a big letdown. But here, you just needed to see the rocket barrage connect onto something.
Don't use this broadcast as soapbox your incorrect opinions about Star Wars.
You just needed to see the writing connect onto something with the Star Wars fan base, and it didn't.
I would say it was more like the entire DCEU. That's really been bothering me.
Offensive.
How do you mess up that many great characters? But we are back into the. No, I believe this is a replay, right? This is
No, this is live.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! And it's already going as bizarrely as possible. Once again, the nanoboost onto Satchok this time does not get the connection. Now he's dead, and KIX just kind of rally, comes straight back in. Big fight, big win. They're getting the kills. Should be able to cap off this.
It's grab that. Oh, actually, it's doing a lot. It's Lil Rax. When Lil Rax grabs, he does a lot.
That's just like one guy. It was him and Xeon Flux between the damage and a biotic grenade. Just when KIX looked like they were about to do it.
It was a 5-man EMP from KIX that ended up dropping 2 to 3 members there, but of those members was not Lil Rax and was not Xeon Flux, and the tag team duo melting through the competition. Once again, Lil Rax does not care about hacks. His beam's doing so much damage on 100 energy. Grabs when he's basically lost a team fight and rescues the whole thing.
Man, how busted would EMP be if it reset Zarya charge? Can you imagine?
Please don't give people ideas.
Jeff, pretend you didn't hear that.
Zarya's in a good spot right now. She doesn't need any more nerf.
Zarya's doing great. You know, she's in a really good place right now. At any rate, Satchok, Primal Rage, sleep on WooSick, take a nap. No kills either way just yet.
That's the go button.
On to a Transcendence, going to use it to keep the team topped off. Bravolab was getting a bit low.
Lil Rex about to grab again. Look at this charge.
Self-destruct laid in from Xenofly just to make some space, and now here comes that grab. Just you wait. Might not even need it actually with the nano boost on Satchok. They're doing the damage out. They don't need any hero plays this time around. 45 seconds left on the clock. This is probably the last fight that KIX can afford to lose.
And this is now looking nigh unwinnable for KIX because they're not playing the sort of DPS comps, not even using the Sombra anymore. That does get them some victories that they were finding some success with. They're trying to match Global Esports in this 3-3, and they actually have the Ryan version, which should be advantage against the Winston version, but they're not finding the openings to really do anything about it because what they're not able to match is, so far, Lil Rex has been absolutely insane, and Global Esports are not winning as long as he's alive. Global Esports are not losing as long as Lil Rex is alive.
I mean, get your story straight. Is Zaya in a good place or is Zaya insane? Let's figure this one out.
Only in the hands of specific players.
There you have it. Well, there's going to be the grab to come out. Just looking to get the closeout damage. No defensive ultimates. Didn't get too much done. Now after it's run out, Jazzy does die. Self-destruct, layered up, gets Sat Shock, that's something, and Xeno flies out of the mech, gonna go down, grab to come out on the other side of this one. Finally, Sheng Jian Bao connects a big one, and that's gonna be Global Esports at long last pushed back off this point. There is no one left to make a hero play this time.
Well, Lil Rex wasn't alive, so no win for Global Esports. That's how it goes. Let me just check the script on that one. Yes, correct.
Hold on. Yeah, I got the same
Double
thing.
Checking. There we go. KIX now. 30 seconds left to go. It's not a lot of time to work with. Ideally, you would have more ults here. Ideally, you would have a ult here. You might get the Transcendence. If the fight goes long, and it probably will, Global Esports will be able to respond.
Yeah, so next scene on the script, it says KIX do not win this fight.
Let's triple bio grenade.
Yeah, that is so huge. That is what happens when let's be honest, better team gets a triple biotic grenade. They get kills, they back it up with something, they force the team off. Both the tanks already done.
Denied!
Ow! Destroyed, and again, at the hands of a biotic grenade. Look at Lil Rex go, all the damage output here. Might even be able to have a celebratory grab by the time this is all said and done. Overtime vanishes, Global Esports will secure the series. The script ended up being correct. And then just now looking for a 4-0.
He's a Lil Rex in life, but a big boy in the game, because that was just an astounding performance. He just completely took everything. I mean, just look at that utter dominance that he displayed.
He wasn't allowed to call himself Big Rex. But that was an absolutely phenomenal performance.
Maya Smith.
I have nothing to say to that.
But I'll agree, it was a performance. It was slightly shaky.
That was I've seen a lot of games in my life, and that was one of them.
It was a little bit shaky overall on the horizon, considering that we did go to time. When we talked about this, this was something for KIX, was like, you know, you were, I don't know if you were joking, but you were saying like they were kind of the beggars, like, give me a time back. They got the time back. They were given the time back. Funnily
then
enough,
it was snatched away from them.
Funnily enough, sort of delivered to them by Global Esports as well, who had the goal to run a Ryan on defense. Never again. They learned the rest and why. And so you do see signs of life from KIX. You see something from KIX. And now that the series is technically won by Global Esports, is this going to be the 4-0 that you'd expect? Or do Global Esports maybe start letting their foot off the pedal a bit? KIX, I don't know, is the pressure off for KIX now? Do they start maybe ascending a bit? It might be hard to tell because Nova MS gave one away to Giant Lynx.
I mean, here's how I liken this. Liken's a bit of a stealth pun here. You're going to find out why. Yes, you're right. I feel like there is a bit of life in KIX, but I feel like it's if we found life on Mars, right? It's probably just going to be single-celled, and it doesn't mean it's livable. It doesn't mean we're going to be able to settle up there because, I mean, it's still irradiated and largely inhospitable. That's kind of what KIX feel like right now. On the other hand, you've got like a thriving Earth-like metropolis on the side of Global Esports, and I mean, that's the difference here. It's night and day. There may be life on them, but don't take that to mean too much.
What was the stealth pun?
Lycan.
Yeah, but what was it?
Lycan. Lycan is a form of life.
Oh,
like the mold.
Okay.
Lycan.
That's what it was. All right.
Yes.
That pun was too high level for me.
I like that. Every so often, I like to say no pun intended in a sentence that didn't have a pun, just to watch people squirm.
Where was the pun? It was so stealthy, I couldn't find it. I was like, oh, wait, you're right, it was a stealth pun because I couldn't find it.
Yeah, like I'll go to my partner. Like, should I invite my parents around for dinner? No pun intended. Just sit there.
Should I be concerned?
Yes. Feel about the same way right now.
I do want to say that on this particular map that now there is opportunity. Again, the parallel you have to draw here is the cyclone coupling parallel, where on one hand It is very much a similar-ish playstyle. Very Sombra reliant, some DPS reliance on there as well. It's now starting to see some reasonable success from the Fire, but it feels like the lesser version of what Cycling Coupling have started to not necessarily perfect, but really have under control, really be consistent with. This is what it looks like when it's inconsistent. So you see parts of it working, and when it's working, you're like, wow, this really is working. But when it's not working, you kind of feel like, man, KIX is just still really need to tighten up so many parts of that ship to really make it work. The pirate ship I'm talking about here, because we're going to Junkertown.
I got you. Yep. That's exactly. They don't quite have that watertight clinker-built construction. It's it's more like 6 months in a leaky boat. I don't know.
How's it still afloat?
Really...
How's it still afloat if it's 6 months? And...
Well, that's the song. Is like I was lucky just to stay afloat. I don't know. Is that song particularly known overseas? 6 months in a leaky boat. Leaky boat, rather. Leaky boat's different. That's what happens when you have Brexit.
Wow.
So how are you enjoying your last broadcast ever? Because I'm having fun.
You ready to give up that dual citizenship yet, or?
I actually learned recently I qualify for Irish citizenship.
Wow.
Because
you're Brexitting out of your UK.
Yeah. I'm going to Brexit out of there. I'm going to the other island. It's far better. But if you can prove that your family left during the potato blight, you can qualify for Irish citizenship. And I do know my family's history. Like, we've got quite a good record, so I do know my family's history far enough back to trace back to the ancestor that left during the blight. So I'm kind of hedging my bets here.
Gotta go where the potatoes are at.
Yeah, I'm good either way. I mean, I prefer the.
Okay.
I mean, you know what? No, I'm not going down this rabbit hole. How was Captain Marvel? You enjoy it? Let's change the topic. Let's stop talking about Brexit. Let's keep our jobs. But let's talk about Junkertown maybe. Speaking of, I was talking about Mars earlier, sort of irradiated hellscapes. Junkertown kind of fitting that same thing. Now that I think
not really radiated at all, to be fair.
What, Mars?
It is still a hellscape. I'm talking about Junkertown here.
Oh, right.
It is still a hellscape.
But I don't know.
They
Sort of imply that the explosion of the Omnic factory is kind of like I don't know. I mean, it gives the implication. Maybe it wasn't inherently nuclear, but like certainly it's made things largely inhospitable. Omnicular.
Remember? There's a real military base somewhere around that part of Australia. I think it's kind of just.
Why do we know about that? I feel like that's the sort of thing that should be a secret. Like,
I don't know. Like, why do people know Area 51 exists? Everyone knows that.
But I guess. But they don't know about Area 52. Ah, Junkertown. I feel like this is. Junkertown feels like the setting. Like if Zack Snyder made a film with Studio Ghibli, this is where it would be set.
Does that make me more wanting to see it or not?
I'm actually really keen on that idea now, right? Like,
or does that put me off?
Not exactly thrilled with Zack Snyder these days, but like I would like to see that done. The wackiest kind of collaboration.
So one thing that KIX are doing better than Cycling Coupling is they do run the hog in the sort of Rissa hog composition with the double snipers, so they are going to have a decent amount of pick potential from both the tanks and both the snipers and all of that. Global Esports out the gate. Lil Rex is going to learn very quickly that he picked the wrong sniper. He brought
didn't even get to turn his head.
He brought a revolver to a sniper duel, and that's not what you want.
I mean, what's your point there? He brought a gun to a bow and arrow fight? There's no moral lessons to be had there, but Global Esports is just going to swap to a 3-3. They don't want that to happen twice.
Yeah, sticking to the 3-3 with the warrior version where, slightly more safe for that particular character. This is still tough, though, because they can't actually go on anywhere. They can't actually initiate any fights.
That's why.
And they get punished if they try. You're diving into a hog.
Now it's Xenofly's turn. Hooked up, stunned up. There's so much displacement here. That's the thing, right? As soon as you are an isolatable target, you are going to remain crowd control for an extended period of time. It's one of the same things that is so threatening in 3-3 is the sheer amount of layered crowd control potential. That being said, KIX, despite those kills, are now ceding a lot of ground. They're just kind of letting this one go.
And I think KIX could really have pushed a little bit further forward, really take advantage of that player, advantage that they did have in terms of numbers. Valkyrie being popped now, you'd expect some more kills to come through, especially because Elva just landed a headshot.
Yeah, oh wow, that was a shot on the mech right as it got hooked in as well. No chance for Xenofly. And now just keeping the pressure on Satchok. Does pick up Xinjiang Bao, so still some signs of life. Now Rusik going down. Satchok's doing this unpunished. That was with the supercharger down as well. Bravolev's self-destruct does not find anything. Now Coalescence on these grabbed up members. And that is going to be, you know, my ultimate finishing move is kind of what that feels like.
Jazzy down at 98% ult charge, and that's really tough because if you had the whole hog earlier, you might have been able to contest better, especially with Satchok just going in, uncontested, unpunished. That's the main guy you want to take down. He doesn't even have Primal yet. He would have been prime picking, and then Global Esports would have probably started to fall apart once your main tank is gone.
All right, KIX.
Don't really agree with the fire here, to be fair. It's not really the best place for fire to really be played. But they are maybe trying to sense, hey, we can get something done with it.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to do it anyway, right? Who cares what you think?
Well, I care.
I know. Satchok still holding on to that Primal Rage. Still no need to use it just yet. That was a somewhat... Oh, dear, maybe should have used it. That was one arrow and one rocket too many, unfortunately. And now the pressure coming down. KIX just... This is actually kind of working. They're getting enough chip damage in, and Global Esports aren't in actually a position where they can charge onto that high ground just yet.
So here's the problem. Global Esports can and should immediately go onto some sniper. Widowmaker would be probably quite nice now, and Elva would just find his entire, I don't know, playability of this character completely taken away from her. It's interesting that Satchok went down when he had Primal. That's not what you'd expect Global Esports to be really losing a fight when they should be in the lead with this ult charge.
They've got another Dragon Strike. Rocket Barrage as well this time as Global Esports make the push. Oh dear. Sees that one coming, no way to get out of it. Gets both the DPSs, that's two for... And Elva does get raised back in, but now isn't really going to have the backup as they channel the Rocket Barrage. Little Rag's going to scoop up that kill again. Global Esports just kind of deconstructing what KIX really had to bear.
And this time around, KIX actually had the ultimates that they were missing on their A defense, and not really good enough. It's interesting that they had a better time going when they didn't use those ultimates, and now on for C already. Global Esports have so much banked up. KIX are going to have to swap for C. If they don't swap for C, I don't think this is going to go well.
Little Rag's holding on to a grab. That ought to be impressive. I'm looking forward to it personally. Dragon Strike out. It's just going to force Global Esports to back up for a little bit.
Expectedly gets no kills, as you normally see with Dragon Strikes. Creates a bit of space, but you're not really doing much with that space, unfortunately. Just kind of slows down Global Esports a bit.
Oh man, that is so much damage. That's with the Mercy in the pocket for half of that as well. There's just so much damage output when you're in those higher charges. Speaking of charge, self-destruct layered forward actually just makes Bramble have a target for Little Rax, who's so far
not done.
Just totally unanswered for as well. Little Rax is walking up pretty much 1 versus 6 in a lot of these situations, picking off a member as KIX go into full retreat, just running away and still dying.
And we're looking at King's Row and thinking, wow, Bravolav is just trying to solo grab Little Rax right now, but he's so threatening that he almost demands, he almost deserves that solo ultimate just being placed on him.
Whoop, there we go. The grab got eaten, so that's one traded back at long last. They kind of get something for their trouble, but Little Rax has still got high charge, still got so much kill pressure. And that's the real difference maker here. Look at that. That's Arbao already down. Rusik was super low as well. Bubblekin is going to get the kill credit for it. Now they're going to drill down Bravolab on the payload itself. Finish off that pilot form pretty quick, smart. This should be Global Esports rolling over the finish line.
Did Little Rax even need a grab? He could have not used the grab for this entire fight and probably would have won with it. Just walking his way through the enemy team, completely uncontested, completely, you know, just nothing from KIX to stop him whatsoever. Grab goes into the Matrix, yeah, so what? Didn't care about that.
All right, let's take a deep breath. Global Esports, that's the return to that absolute one-sided dominance that we were seeing, especially actually on Oasis and to an extent on King's Row as well. We didn't see it quite as much on Horizon Lunar Colony, but that right there, that offense for Junkertown, that's what you want to see out of this team. Now, if they can also complete a full hold, ideally on A, in similarly commanding fashion, Global Esports are right back where they should be.
And that's the one thing you bring up right now that is very key to this matchup in this entire series, is so far we have not seen a commanding defensive hold from Global Esports across these maps. Kings Row went all the way to C. Horizon, we know, went into Time Bank. This is the opportunity. If Global Esports don't complete a full hold on A or even a hold on B, and this goes to C again, it's like, what's happening on these defenses for Global Esports that they're consistently unable to just stop this KIX offense before we get to the final point?
All right. Last chance for KIX. Show us your other tricks. Thank you, I'll be here all week. Do they have any other tricks?
I'm thinking of both what other tricks they have and also something to rhyme it with, but that we haven't used yet.
Yeah.
I'll use most of the good ones by now.
Not a lot of IX words.
And the other ones I want to use, I can't say, so...
Quite long as well, some of them. Oh, that's, yeah, KIX are still just kind of shuffling things up as they come out of the gate here.
And it's the back to the fire. Here's the problem. Because they do identify it's a Ryan defense again, this is where they can get advantage. We're back to Horizon A. At Global Esports, I think they're going to get punished again.
Yeah, I mean, they also don't need to be positioned this far forward either, for what it's worth. This is really big punish. Like, it's not even like there's a lot of men on the ground that they can really get on top of to punish. If they do, they end up out in the open, the open and exposed.
If you're Wusik, you're the only one that can get dived on, but then you just walk backwards.
That's the thing, and like I said, while Global Esports would be doing that, they'd be in the open, and Elva would be picking up kills anyway.
So if you want to be big-brained here, first of all, Global Esports need to change onto a sniper. That's a must, or at least a Winston, but that's not really ideal. Second of all, if Elva expects it, he just changes onto something else like a Zarya right now. But both teams are just pretty adamant. Global Esports has just been really not wanting or not comfortable playing Widowmaker or something. They're going to go on the Winston, but specifically for this point, this is the highest, I guess, skybox on the map for a fire to be played. So Elva's having a great time.
Grab thrown out, but no real follow-up. And, I mean, it didn't exactly catch a lot of people anyway. Rocket Barrage just, it doesn't get too much done. A couple of kills have already come through, but that's a good trade back, picking up Jazzy now. Relatively even so far. KIX making some headway here. Or rather, sorry, Global Esports making some headway against KIX. That's what I meant there. And they're just kind of pushing KIX back now, very unceremonious.
Part of the problem here is KIX's other 4 members that are kind of hanging out on the ground. Well, they were taken down, and for Global Esports, they're finally actually able to initiate a fight. Before, when KIX were winning, that's because they didn't allow Global Esports to walk up to them. This time around, especially with the Winston, who can just dive in, KIX's members on the ground, which again, just compromised, and Elva's damage was decent, but none of it can be converted to kills.
Xinjiang Bao now going to go off the Hanzo onto the Sombra, wants a little bit more pressure on that ground game. Now Rocket Barrage available. Self-destruct laid up, so have to run and hide from that, and oh dear. Supercharger is down, but not a lot of people are going to be able to take advantage of it.
I mean, that was almost, again, the perfect storm for someone like Elva.
Hello.
Supercharge was down. Rocket Barrage would have been insanely good.
Azure going down as well. That's a little bit rough. Xenofly might be able to get back into the mech, though, depending on how this plays out, because it's not like he's really eating a lot of pressure right now. There's going to be the Rocket Barrage. Xenofly gets that kill. That's a bit absurd, but the Razor's going to be there anyway, and I mean, that's still massive numbers advantage for KIX. Global Esports, they do get Xenofly back in the mech, but honestly, now Xenofly is kind of a man alone here.
And this is where, you know, the Razor coming through as well. For some reason, Bravlab wasn't there to protect Elva. That's something we have to get over, though. KIX do eventually camp out here, and I don't know, this has now been, I want to say, 2 out of 2 for Global Esports versus a Farah, where, to be fair, this is going to raise some big questions later on. You're not even facing the best Farah in the region.
Well, look, when all's said and done, less than a minute when they cap, so KIX, they've got some time on the board, but it's still not a lot. Even if we go to time bank this time around, I would expect them to have a lower time than Global Esports. And that would be assuming Global Esports don't just depend on B here. This is where the Farah should realistically start losing some momentum.
When it comes to EMP, it's a 5-man connection. The only person that missed it was Azure.
The thing is, Xinjiang Bao goes down, and because Azure was missed, he commits the sound barrier, and Global Esports are effectively fine. Now Elva going to go down to Satchak, and KIX, despite honestly what is a decent EMP, don't get anything off it.
And the thing is, for Global Esports, despite not really able to effectively play the same composition on A on B much better. This is where you can get a lot more better. You can see just even having the high building, Satchok fly or jumping on top of one of them, getting a range of Elva, doing enough damage to take them down is really putting KIX in a weird spot. The EMP connecting on 5 is really good, but because somebody had a good defense available, that's all they need.
And Jazzy down as well. So again, before the fight has really broken out in earnest, KIX take a casualty and it's just not off to a good start.
Global Esports still just have this Graviton Surge. Lil Rex, small amount of charge at the moment. Needs to get that energy back up, but otherwise, KIX, this is starting to feel like a huge slowdown. This is where momentum has completely shifted. This is where KIX have just kind of once again in the series hit a brick wall.
Sting already 1 minute gone, and all they've achieved so far was one whiffed, or rather, uncapitalized upon EMP, and now this time, caught Lil Rax's grab as they are. They suffer some losses. Rez there on Elva, but Arbau trades his own life for that, and I mean, Elva's not getting a lot done, gets Azure, but all these other members from KIX so low, largely dead. Now Jazzy going down, and Elva's hit the retreat anyway.
And actually getting that kill onto Azure means something if then you don't lose something else on your own side, because then you have a potential one-player advantage you can push on. But because then you drop a member yourself, I mean, it's just evened up. Elva themselves going down means that's a staggered death, a second staggered death onto Bravo Larvin. KIX, it's now one step forward and maybe about 3 or 4 steps back.
I mean, man, Global Esports should not be able to play this far forward right now. It's one thing to stop the cart this far forward on B, it's another thing to be able to push out and, I mean, be killing these respawners of KIX, especially when they've got ultimates. It's not like this is a super one-sided spawn camp like we see sometimes. This is KIX that should have the tools to fight their way out of this.
And part of this is right now, I think you need to get rid of the fire. Despite the fire getting some kills, is the barrage going to do much?
Yeah, that is actually something. Notably getting Lil Rax as well with a rocket. Self-destruct from Xenofly, didn't get anything in response. Shengjang Bao's the only casualty here, gets raised straight back in anyway, so Sound Barrier from Azure not going to be available for this one, not going to be committed. Satchok hacked out. KIX will get back on the payload. There's still plenty of opportunities for Global Esports to defend on B here, though.
This is where they finally get a combo out, where they get the EMP, and then the barrage is kind of safe or slash free. Global Esports don't have a good response. Azure has a sound barrier, but not in time for the EMP. Xeonflux isn't playing as Zenyatta, so there's no transcendence. This is where KIX can really put everything into a fight and get a team fight, where the problem is, you put everything into that fight, what do you got for this one? This is the one you need to cap.
Now into the overtime. Global Esports coming back in. They know that they need to only take this one to complete their 4 and 0. They've got the tools to back it up. Here, Little Rex nearly has himself a grab as well. The minefield not in a particularly great position right now. Sound Barrier going to be committed to give them a bit of room in the fight. Elva will be charging up a rocket barrage before too long, so there is a bit of a timer on this one. Hack on Satchok, but he's already got Primal Rage running. Ravelab goes down, Satchok though traded back.
Where's Lil Rax? Needs to get the grab out there.
Yeah, but he's hacked out, and now Elva's got a rocket barrage, taking his time committing it, but will finally throw it down on top of Azure, finishes off Xenofly with the help of Wusik as well. There's going to be a raise back on Bravolab anyway, who gets back in the mech. So KIX, they managed to preserve momentum. Little Rex finally comes in with the grab, though. Will it be enough? The Biotic Grenade keeps Wusik and Bravolab chopped up. The Coalescence, not enough to finish them off. Little Rex goes down. Global Esports not really staying in this one much longer by the looks of things. Xeonflux bought them extra time at the Coalescence, but KIX are poised to cap.
So this is where if Global Esports keeps putting members in here and they still lose, they're now feeding ultimate charge that KIX dearly need to get into C.
Yeah, and it's ultimate charge there. Well, now indeed, rather, ultimates they have. Elva nearly back up on a barrage. Shengjang Bao nearly back up on an EMP. By the time the next fight breaks out, those ultimates should be available.
And here we are, 3 out of 3 of the most recent maps. Global Esports have failed to hold on either A or B. We're on the final point now, and KIX even have an opportunity to continue pushing through. EMP coming up online soon. Barrage coming up online soon. Xeonflux still on a Moira, which means only one defensive ultimate against all of that.
And this is the one thing we've said you could really still question about this team, despite the other one-sidedness of this series. These are not losses they should be copying on these defenses. Xenofly getting hacked, goes down. Nano boost on Elva. The damage output is really starting to mount now. Few more rockets. He's already got a barrage available. Bravolab does get pigs, but Lil Rax is already down as well. And again, the damage output from KIX is largely there, but finally Global Esports get a few in, and Elva commits that rocket barrage a fraction of a second too late.
You can just see there as well, trying to take down some members. As you're a little bit too slippery, doesn't get taken down by the rockets. The rest of Global Esports as well copped the full rocket onto Xeonflux, didn't go down. So close close to just taking more members to continue the momentum, but KIX have finally stopped. They're finally forced to officially swap onto a 3-3 goes to match, and now for Global Esports in pole position, 15 seconds remaining, and they have ults.
The one advantage that the Ryan Goats has over the Winston Goats is a non-factor here. The Winston's got a primal rage boost. It gets miles away from an Earth Shatter. Stunned up as well and going to die. Self-destruct finds Jazzy. That's Sheng Jianbao picked 3 of the 6 already out of the picture. Make that 4. Our Bao is done for. Bravolab now going to be the next target. Bravolab demexed. Bravolab dead. Elva low. Elva in full retreat. Probably not going to last much longer as the overtime ticks down. We will not have ourselves another time bank. Global Esports complete themselves the expected 4-0.
They don't drop a single map hit, which is important. They do drop a decent amount of points. The points are not going to matter in terms of actual standings or anything like that, but it matters for both moral, like you said, but also in terms of story here, when you start thinking about where KIX are getting some victories, some small victories, where Global Esports are giving those away, and it's like Global Esports can't just win this one 4-0. They got to win it while paying the KIX tax.
And that's the thing. We talked about weaknesses maybe being exposed. Certainly that was what Global Esports would not want to have happen. I don't know if it's necessarily a weakness, but there is that trend that we've mentioned where they have struggled to hold off KIX on defenses where it feels like they should have, given how one-sided the offenses were.
I'll put it this way. It's not a problem in this particular match because it is a 4-0.
Yeah.
It will be a problem next week when they go up against Cyclone Cup.
Exactly.
I bet we're watching this closely and saying, Elva is not as good as Jackie. Sheng Jianbao is not as good as Xiaoji. I mean, you put a better Sombra in there, you put a better Farah in there against a better team who can execute on both those heroes as a team and individually. What do Global Esports do against that? Because they already, quote-unquote, struggle or at least give away small victories when, again, we say they probably shouldn't. Cyclone Coupling are so much more consistent at executing on the exact same strategies. Does Global Esports just lose every time a Farah is on the map?
I'd like to say, and I don't know really if this is true, but I'd like to say that it maybe comes from a place of a lack of respect. I would like to say that Global Esports know that they shouldn't really be running those compositions, know that they should be doing something else, but are going, we'll probably win anyway. And I mean, they were technically right, but we talk about discipline. That would be lacking discipline. Not making the swap when you should because you feel like you'll win anyway. It's one of those ones where I don't care if you end up actually being right. That's still not really a good way to play. It still comes with its own problems. Now look, against Cyclone Coupling, yeah, all those things are true. Maybe Global Esports won't just play right into the hands of a Farah Sombra, but maybe they won't.
I think they will because at this point, when you see Cyclone Coupling, which we just saw earlier this evening, which is a much better version of Cyclone Coupling than we've seen in previous weeks, except for week 1. Right now, if you do a third match tonight, you put this Global Esports versus this Cyclone Coupling that we just saw, I think Cyclone Coupling win that one because you try and do some of those things where you lose that Sombra Farah.
My maybe they won't is maybe Global Esports won't play correctly into it.
Yeah, what I'm saying is if you are kind of losing to the KIX version, Jackie and Xiaoji are going to laugh you off the map when you try and do some of those things that Global Esports did. So something to work on between now and next week for sure, but that does, of course, finish up all our matches for this week. So let's go